So we will start third speaker's lectures, and before that, I have the small announcement. Some of you have not yet signed up the agreement, because you can see that we are recording the lecture and the discussion. So we are taking your picture as well. So we need a permission from you. So even if you do not submit this document, still if you are here, you admit, you permit our taking photos. So, but we need your documentation. So, is that all right? So please, before you leave this room, please submit your signed up seat. Okay. So the third speaker is no. Yeah, yes, and he's a frequent comer and made several presentations already in the past 3 years. And also he's teaching at KO Business School for quite some time, 3 years, 4 years. And also he is teaching at the Mita campus regarding to the, what is the title, emerging market.
So I teach a course called Competing in Emerging Markets. And
Okay.
So,
Okay.
You give a quick background?
No, it's all right. And that is introduction. And most of us know you in advance. So, so okay, the title has a slight change. But do you have a microphone? No.
I'm really short, but if you have questions, it can go along. So first of all, I'd like to ask a question and then address his question. How many of you know BB-8? How many of you know BB-8? Raise your hands. That means you are in the classroom. That means you're completely disconnected. BB-8 is the most, you don't know BB-8? You are disconnected, my friend. BB-8 is the most sold droid device by Walt Disney. It's the new R2-D2 in Star Wars. They sold 1 million of them. They sold 1 million of them at $200 a piece. And it sold out, and that too within sort of 2 months. Okay. How are people going to, now that his question, BB-8, Walt Disney, and if you combine it, those new types of experiences will replace old types of making things. So people spent money on BB-8, right? In 2 months, they've spent $200 million, right? People spent on Star Wars. They spent $3 billion on Star Wars. No, more than that. If you add 3 billion to just box office revenue, if you add up everything else, it goes to somewhere else. I mean, it's some $5-6 billion. It crossed Avatar. Those things did not exist 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Sony was making the camera. The camera business is going to go out of business. I'll give you an example. I'm going to come back to this. How many of you know GoPro? What does GoPro do?
You stick it to a helmet.
What does GoPro do?
It takes a video.
Takes a video, but lots of stuff take video.
Yeah, but it's like attached to the helmet.
Okay.
So it's resistant to like snow and other things.
It captures video really fast.
Yeah.
Okay. The company came out, did his IPO. Let's call it 2-3 years ago. I may be slightly wrong here. About $10 billion market cap. Today, it's $2 billion. Dropped like a rock. And the reason it dropped like a rock, because GoPro was huge success in the beginning. And people thought that's going to be a phenomenon, right? So he's going to create his video. there is only, everybody is going to congregate in GoPro. It's just, you just put it in your head and it really fast, like you're skiing or you're going down the mountain or bicycling or anything, or scuba diving, and there is going to be a whole industry of video being created and people lining up to watch the video, and then he's going to charge in content, all kinds of fantasy about GoPro that people realize what doesn't work. One, because it's one pony trick, one product. Two, whatever he's creating, he wants his on his own name. That's his content. He's not going to give it to GoPro, right? So again, GoPro was not very successful, but somebody's taking the business out from GoPro right now. But if GoPro were successful, that's a new industry, right? So there will be very new industries going to be created. I don't have any answer how Japan can participate on that. I'm not going to go into it. Okay, so that's it. That's something that we can argue. But I can tell you where things are going. Jobs will be destroyed. Companies will be destroyed. In fact, our businesses, we only like companies that destroy other companies' business. Because he has so much money in his pocket. He's either going to give it to me or give it to him. He's not going to give it to both. He's not making more money, more and more money. So you have to take business away from others. So in that context, so I'll just present what is, I think most people know what IoT is. So I'll just go through it very quickly, what, how things are changing. So this is just a simple chart. I think it's from IDC. Basically, you know, the numbers are there. You know, the 4 billion people. Forget about the revenue opportunity. Nobody knows what it is. But it's 25 million apps, and you know, whether it's 25 or 20 or 30, who knows? But it's just exploding. Data, of course, is exploding because the Facebook now is for 40-year-olds. Nobody who is below 20 is on Facebook anymore. They're on Instagram. They're going into video. They don't want to be with the same mom, right? They don't want their mom and dad to be on the same site that they're networking, right? So video is going to take over, but video is going to be a function of network bandwidth. People are still confused about how to make money from video, right? WhatsApp, great example. WhatsApp grew from 300 million users, Japanese don't use it much, to about 1 billion users now, globally. People use it. WhatsApp, for me and for a lot of other people, have pretty much replaced email. I use email only for attachments, right? And so just boom, 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 straight quick talk. And, but they haven't monetized yet, except there's a lot of people hooked onto WhatsApp, but if they charge me a subscription fee, will I stick to it, or will I go to the next one that Google creates? You know, so they were supposed to charge me, I think 80 yen per year, which is not much, but they just decided not to, right? So people are still confused about monetizing, but so what is Internet of Things if you sort of dissect it, right? They're physical devices. Devices could be your phone. Devices could be this microphone that I'm holding. But this is connected to the network or cloud in some form or other. So there's a sensor here, which is interpreting my voice, understanding my voice, learning from my voice. For example, today I don't type anymore. I just speak with Google Voice keyboard. I just speak both in Japanese and English. It's about 80 to 90% correct, right? So there's a sensor, and of course there's a software. It's constantly, you know, reinterpreting because I'm using names. Anegawa Sensei. First time it gets confused. What is Anegawa? Then it kind of refers to my contact book and says, oh, okay, this is Anegawa. And then I changed it. So it remembers, okay, when it sounds like this, it must be Anegawa, right? And then, of course, the whole game is what do you do with this data that we're creating, and how do we make these machines learn from the user behavior? And it's going to propagate into everything. It's going to propagate into industrial applications, consumers, and machine to machine, kind of like Matrix, the movie, right? But I'll just touch upon it so that you have an idea of what's going on. You already may have an idea. So let's just take what's going on today at General Electric, right? So this is a chart from Accenture. So GE makes, among other things, jet engines, right? So but jet engines have a lot of different problems, but GE doesn't know where the problems happen. So it wants to be on top of it. It wants to fix the problem before it happens. So in other words, there's maintenance, but there's preventive maintenance, right? If something is going wrong and GE gets a signal, and it could come straight from an airplane at 40,000 feet, right? So even before the plane lands from Narita to Hong Kong, even before the plane lands at Hong Kong, there's a team there. Plane didn't have any problem. But plane might have a problem because somebody detected it. So as soon as it comes, it's already scheduled. So, that also allows you to optimize the fleet. So everything gets more and more and more complex. To user, when we use phones and we're so used to like really easy, simple application and it does everything for you, which basically means what's behind it gets more and more complex, right? To deliver that experience to users. And airlines, of course, fleet optimization is huge for them. Tires, right? Michelin, French company, right? French are very good at math. So it's very simple. They fit something there in their tires, right? And the tires have sensors, right? And because the truck is now connected, so they can figure it out how you're using the tire. They can actually go around in a business way and say, okay, don't buy the tire, buy it on a kilometer basis. We give you this many kilometers, which is what really the truck fleet manager wants to do, right? He's more, if I tell the truck fleet manager that these are so he charges his customers by weight and kilometers, right? Kilometers is related to diesel. So, and then if he can get an absolute estimate of what are his maintenance costs, right? Then it's perfect. So he would just buy it in kilometer. And what is Michelin is going to do? Michelin is going to just add a little bit more margin in there because he doesn't even know, right? So, so that's it is coming. It will come, but the trucks have to be fitted with the sensors. There's a lot of requirement, and again, there is nothing new here. You require the cloud, you require the access. The moment the access breaks down, access to the web, you feel like your hand is cut off. Just imagine today, if I take away your smartphone, right? You're disconnected from Line, you're disconnected, whatever you use, I don't know. So you're disconnected from email, you're disconnected from Bloomberg, your internet, whatever you use, right? You just feel insecure, within half hour, 45 minutes. It depends on the person how often you use it. So access anytime and anywhere is kind of a granted. People 2 years ago, when they were building applications, they're building devices, they're building products, they assumed the access may or may not be there. But today, even in a country like India, which has a per capita income of $2,000 per year, right? US is $50,000 per year, Japan is $35,000 per year, rough numbers. Even India has 4G. It may or may not work sometimes, but it has 4G. Most of the cities have 4G now. So it's changing rapidly, at least the access part. Not necessarily consumption part, because that's still dependent on discretionary income. Security, it's a paradise for hackers now. You make more money as a hacker than anything else. It's a paradise, because hackers get invited to break the products all the time, right? And there are, of course, bad ones, right? The bad ones will break it. Big data analytics, user experience, you manage, these are all simple things, asset management, and smart machines. So benefits, simple, again, easy to understand, operational efficiencies. Second one is important. So instead of buying, how many of you use Microsoft Outlook? How many of you use Microsoft Outlook? You don't use Microsoft Outlook? No? How many of you use Office 365? No? So Microsoft stopped selling, stop selling Outlook, right? Office, basically, right? Office that comes with Word, Excel, and everything else is going to come as a service. It is already being sold as a service. as Office 365, but pretty soon they will take it out. They will make sure it's so painful that you go for Office 365, which basically means you pay as you go, number of users, number of features, and so on. A lot of things is getting into almost all of the software today, almost all of the software except certain security and defense related stuff. Almost everything has moved on to software as service. Connected ecosystem, easy to understand. And there is collaboration between humans and machines. I don't believe it. I just wrote it there, but I think machines will take over at some point, and we need to fight back. So I think the machines will rise. You know, I'm not joking about it. Just imagine, right? Just talk about smart cars. What do we call driverless cars? It's all over the news, right? Everybody, even U.S. regulators have started talking about it, driverless cars. Okay, they will start it in shorter distance. They will do it in parks, like, where there's not a lot of people. Google has been driving around with the driverless car all over the United States as a test market. Toyota is looking at it. Everybody's looking at it. What if I just hack it? Just if I hack the driverless car, forget the driver. Everybody around the driver is dead, right? I can do whatever I want to do. So I think as machines start talking to machines, which is, I think somebody was talking about it before, and they are increasingly talking to each other, you will have some serious, from terrorism to just name it. And there are some really good people who can hack. Whether they're in China or Silicon Valley or Bangalore, I don't know, but there are some people, and they will hack, and that could mean, that's the danger of Internet of Things. You're connected, so it's efficient, it's easy to use, but the flip side is, it's totally hackable, right? There is nothing called perfect security. It's just always constant learning to make your security better. So now I'm going to go to the home, which is where, so we run businesses. So one of the businesses is called Stay Cool. It's just a fun logo, Stay Cool, Live Smart. So there are multiple businesses underneath it. One of the businesses we are bringing to Japan, from next week, we're in a roadshow, is a product called B1. I'll show it to you. I have it. So so basically, if it is successful, it's like a mini iPhone almost. So to give you an example, there are 120 million people in Japan. There are 150 million phones, because some people have two phones. But phone is attached to an individual. So that market is completely saturated. Now they're going out and saying, okay, he's 55, his dad is 75 or 80, there's a house, he needs to have things relatively automated, relatively easy. So companies are going in and fixing that for him, but he still is able to control it from outside, right? From anywhere, basically control it from anywhere. So they're taking it to a completely different level. So let me just give you example. I'm sorry you cannot see this and you don't have the presentation. I just put it together because I was abroad. I just landed this morning. So let's say you get up in the morning, right? So the alarm goes off. Everything is programmed. Everything is connected. The alarm goes off at 6 a.m., right? The air conditioner automatically turns on. It's programmed, right? You programmed it on your cell phone, but the cell phone doesn't talk to air conditioner. There's something in between. So the in-between thing I'll show you. Then lights turn on, automatic, right? And you want to change. Are you familiar with IFTTT? How many people are familiar with IFTTT? No? Okay. That's going to be the language that literally every user, everybody, normal people are going to use. It's if then this that. If this then that. If this then that. So for example, she says, I have to I come from office. It takes me 15 minutes to get back home from office. Sorry, 15 minutes from office to home. So if I live at office at 5:45, I want the Ohuro to be on at 6. I'm just going to making an example. Probably you take Ohura at the end of the night, but let's say you want to take Ohura when you come back home. So, but if she leaves at 6, the Ohura automatically turns at 6:15, right? Because she has programmed it. It's if I live at this time, then this. Very simple, okay? That's taking over. It's happening in the U.S. You will see it very soon. It's almost like the Garakei phone Japanese people had. And the wave came, the tsunami came of the smartphones, right? iPhone, Galaxy, just name it. You have your own choice. And the Galaxy just got washed away. And that happened in 5 years. This thing could have happened much faster. And so destruction will happen. There is no two ways about it, right? You go to Yodobashi camera or big camera and all the stuff that you're buying, those are old. Those are dinosaur stuff. I mean, they look great, but these are totally dinosaur stuff compared to what's happening in the U.S. For that matter, what's happening in China as well. So then the air conditioner turns off, right? Turns off, and because the air conditioner was on, you're about to leave, right? Music system turns on. This is probably an American, right? And then coffee machine turns on, your one-touch alarm is activated, and then by the time you're about to leave, so you basically have programmed your music system to turn on and turn off for about 30 minutes. So the music system turns on only after the blinds are drawn or something like that, right? And you programmed it. And this is going to come. This is already coming in the U.S. So we had our debut in Las Vegas last week at Consumer Electronics Show, right? And there is tremendous amount of interest. This is probably a Japanese house, right? A Japanese house is different stuff like suihanki, right? Rice cooker or ohuro, right? Which is very not around the world, right? Or you have, every country has its own cultural way of living, and so that the machines would be programmed for that, right? You will program the machine for that, right? Because it's going to be it's going to be very simple. In fact, it's going to be as simple as this. It's not going to be like you go into the machine and you say, you connect this or that doesn't work, you connect that doesn't work. You just speak. You just speak to your phone, whatever phone you have, right? You just speak to your phone. It has to be that simple. Otherwise, the adoption is not going to happen, right? So I will show you this device. So this is the product that we have. Just give me 1 second. This is probably going to go on sale in Japan, maybe from March or April, because we're still negotiating with a lot of people. So we'll figure out. It's going to be in the store, basically. In the store, or you'll see an advertisement from KDDI, or you'll see something at Home Says JP or a bunch of places, right? But let me show you what it looks like. It's out, so I'm on an advertisement mode. So this is what it looks like, right? It's actually, it sits like this. It's not clear. This one is clear because I wanted to show to the customers what's inside, right? So that it kind of looks cool and people can, oh, there is so much stuff in there. And so let me go to a little bit of technology issues, right? So I'll give you an example. If you take your iPhone, so the idea is this. The idea is sorry, I didn't put it up here. So, but the idea is this. The idea is there's a lot of stuff around you, at your home, some maybe at your office, anywhere. Your only friend, even more important than your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, is your phone, right? So that is always with you, whatever that phone is, right? It's an iPhone or an Android phone, mostly iPhone and Android. So that phone it can only talk one way. So for example, if I connect the iPhone to one wireless device, it cannot talk to another wireless device. If it's talking to one Bluetooth device, it cannot talk to another Bluetooth device. And the problem is compounded by the fact that not all devices communicate using Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth consume a lot of energy because they're designed to transmit a lot of data, right? So they consume a lot of energy. But there are devices, if you have a door lock, Sony's has a door lock called Curio, right? I don't know what protocol they use. But if you have a door lock, the door lock doesn't transmit that much stuff. So you don't use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. You use a technology called Z-Wave or Zigbee. And there are tons of different technologies, right? Tons of different technology protocols, right? So the challenge is I want to talk to any device that I like. I want to buy anything that I like, but I want to be able to control everything using my cell phone and talk to my phone. So, but the phone cannot talk to everybody, right? So what we did is we designed something, it took 7 years, designed something that is in between that can seamlessly talk to everybody. It's never seamless, there'll always be problems. It can talk to almost everything, right? And the problem is compounded further by Android operating system and iOS is always changing. They're adding new updates, they're adding security features. So it's one device that was working yesterday is not working today. That is the biggest problem and challenge in Japan, by the way. Japan's software engineering capability is very low, okay, relative to the US and other parts of the world. Somehow they haven't kept up on it. Somehow the engineering, sort of the school of engineering, they've been very focused on hardware. So as a result, a lot of these companies now, big companies, they create a mobile site. You create a mobile site, it's working beautifully. 3 months later, all of a sudden, the menu page looks like this. You know, it's gone out of shape, and it's not updating. That's only because your website your mobile site is not in sync with the latest iOS or the latest Android. But it has to go back as well. In other words, it has to be okay on iPhone 5S as well as an iPhone 6s Plus, right? So that complicates the problem, and therefore the role for somebody in between your phone, and all kinds of devices that are coming into the market. The Internet of Things devices for home, which is primarily for home automation, which means your air conditioner, washing machine, all the stuff that you use at home. The next one is security, your door sensors, your camera, motion sensors, all the stuff. And the third one is for your audio video, what you play with, like your video, your video game, or basically all kinds of remotes, right? Those are the typical 3 functions at a home, at least today. And so something has to be in between that can seamlessly connect, even if you continue to change your devices. And that is what this is, right? And I'm very, very happy. We had a phenomenal success at Consumer Electronics Show. Do you know a company called Best Buy? Best Buy is about $40 billion revenue company, right? So Best Buy is, I'm pretty sure. Best Buy is Big Camera, Yodobashi, Yamada Denki, all put together into 2. Okay, twice the size of all these 3 companies put together. So they're going to start carrying from March, also this product, but it's a US version. This is what the product is, and this is the left-hand side, the screen. You see a little screen. So if you have a sensor, the sensors are there, but I don't think I want to show it here. But if the sensor is attached to a door, and you left the door open, basically this is what you're going to see. On your phone, it's sitting in the office, right? And if your wife shows up, door is locked, your wife looks at the camera, you either visually recognize her and open the door from your office, or I mean, if you want to go Tom Cruise, right? You can actually get me the Retina recognition or something, and then then open the door. Of course, that's for Mission Impossible, not for ordinary houses because it's too expensive, right? So this is the product. So my presentation is over, but I'm happy to take questions.
Questions and comments?
Thank you very much for the. Thank you very much for the presentation, and it was absolutely spectacular product. You know what interests me the most is that the safety that you mentioned, and you know the hackers.
You mean security?
Yeah, the security. The other day there was this, few hackers were caught in Ukraine because they managed to break the banking system in US, and will this device it's a target for many hackers, I would think, and how is there anything being done to protect this device against the hacking attacks?
So in any device, right? There's so many different ways to prevent hackers from hacking it, right? Basically, a complex key, a more complex key, and a more complex key. And so this is 256-bit encryption thing, right? But if you left your password on your cell phone, there's a password reset. And I'm able to hack onto your cell phone and get the password for the 3 different passwords for that device. I can hack into it. So the device itself can be hack-proof, or cannot be perfectly hack-proof, but could be fairly secure. But the user behavior is not secure. And how many things do you store on your phone? You store some passwords, right? And you started storing in a very, you don't have the passwords, but it's XX. We've got lots of people have a lot of stuff, maybe not you. So hacking into people's phones is actually the most dangerous thing, because that way you can hack into any device. But it's never going to be foolproof. You build a castle, you build fences, somebody will figure out how to jump over it. And then you build a different fence.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm from CloudSecurity Alliance, and I'm involved in developing global guidance for IoT security. And maybe the large problem with us is interoperability, in particular between cloud data centers, because there are a lot of data sources, and they're gathering to a lot of data center. So how do you coordinate those manufacturing makers or data providers?
So this is a. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So this is. I don't know if you meant by machine-to-machine communication, or you're talking about in object-to-machine communication. And object-to-machine communication would be it's a definition, but they're calling it industrial internet. But machine-to-machine would be 2 active machines. So if it's machine-to-machine, which is a server-to-server, there has to be rules of communication, right? And the rules are sitting in some management layer. In other words, so let me make up an example. You ask me a question. You're Kawasaki. You're making something for me, Toyota. You ask me a question. You machine asking me a question, machine. But I have set some rules. Somebody has set some rules, and you have set some rules. If you ask me some questions and it's confidential, I may not answer. But what if somebody tweaks that confidentiality? And then I'll give you the information. So I'm not a hacking expert, or I'd like to be one. I think I'll make more money, probably. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge for everybody. Windows 10 just decided to throw out Norton, right? They're replaced with Windows Defender. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you.
And maybe coordination among regulators, something like FCC, FTC, and
regulators will not be able to solve it.
So maybe
Regulators can create framework. This is dog eat dog world. The regulators regulate people who are willing to hack. They don't care about regulators. It's open world. They can go from anywhere to anywhere. So regulators can create. Regulators can help you set framework. Okay, they can tell this is what you can provide and this is what you cannot provide. But they can't stop it. I mean, you just look at Sony got, which was 3 months ago, six months ago, Columbia Pictures, sorry, Sony USA got hacked, right? US has a lot of regulations. Somebody decided to hack Sony, I can't remember, because of North Korea or I don't know. Nobody knows why exactly that hacking happened. So it's very difficult, and the only way that I've talked to a lot of experts in Silicon Valley from time to time, not experts as engineers, but CEOs, and all of their approach is constant learning. There is no single way to stop it.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I have a very basic question, actually. So my understanding of Internet of Things has been that the vision is that all objects involved, the communication uses one standardized protocol, so that you can easily include more objects. So, and that would make the power of the Internet of Things. But listening to your story, it seems more like the opposite of my understanding. Namely, everyone uses their own protocol and own technology, and you provide this device just to compromise for this non-standardization. And this is contrary to what I believe the Internet of Things is.
So, simple answer, it's every company has a different agenda. Every country has a different agenda. So the fact is, it's a chaos.
Yeah, all right. So my response to this
just
is
one second. So let me make sure. So the fact is chaos in the sense there are lots and lots of different network protocols, and lots of different. Every single device has a different application programming interface, and they don't talk to each other. They don't disclose it. So therefore, the need. If everything was perfect, there is no need for this.
Correct. So my understanding was that in Europe and in the US, there are, as part of Industry 4.0 in Germany, they actually make a huge effort to standardize these things. And a complaint about Japan is that Japan is not actively contributing to the standardization of this protocol. So, what would you say is that your device bridges the situation where the standardization is not completed yet? I mean, take the internet. I mean, the internet is successful because the internet uses a standardized protocol. So previously, Japan had their own kind of internet, but it never took off because it was not standardized. So is it true that your device is a bridge between the situation now, which you call a chaos, and the expected situation that people standardize?
So let me answer that in two parts. In the industrial world, I think it's very standardized because, again, I'm talking about communication protocol, right? You're talking in French. I need to understand you. I need to understand you in English. That's not going to change very soon, because you will always talk in French because you have invested in learning French and you will speak in French. So somebody has to translate to me in English. In the industrial world, you talk in French, it goes into machine language. I talk in English, it goes in machine language. So in industrial world, that's not a big issue. Although you still have big issues for applications talking to each other, right? That's where the software guys get paid, right? But in the consumer world, so if you're talking about this is more consumer. In consumer world, even today, try connecting your iPhone to a Windows. Try sending a file from your iPhone on a standard protocol called Bluetooth to your Windows PC. May not work. And try connecting your Apple, the MacBook, to somebody else's Windows on Bluetooth, just file transfer, standard protocol. It's not going to work.
I think you answered my question. That was an important distinction between industrial world and consumer world.
Very much, very much.
Thank you.
Any further questions? And the product launch is on sometime in March?
We think sometime in March because it a lot depends on certification. If a large customer wants to change things, so of course we will change things for them because there is a lot of things inside the device, right? So they may want this, they may not want this. So tentatively the product is March, sometime in between March and April for consumers.
If being at home becomes so convenient in the near future, what's next?
Play games. Literally, I'm not kidding. Like, Netflix just came, right? So how do you think that's going to impact TV viewing? Right? TV meaning I'm talking about the channels, the normal channels you have. So Netflix just came, or you can buy Fire Stick from Amazon, and you plug it in. You're exposed to the ocean. You're sitting in a pond called Fuji TV and NTV, right? And all of a sudden you're exposed to the ocean. You're going to go and play in the ocean and not play with Fuji TV and NTV. So it's going to bring, it's going to have an impact. Every user will have a different behavior. So I think more matured people, which is a country like Japan, they would be very, they would have they would probably adopt, but there's a big question mark here. Can these products be absolutely intuitive, right? In other words, if you ask somebody who is not very good at machines and you ask him to tweak and become a geek and then fix this ecosystem so that he can play with it, it's not going to work. It needs to be completely intuitive, which means the back end would be very complex because it should really understand user behavior. It should really seamlessly integrate, effortlessly integrate. So I think that's what the case is today. We've seen a lot of demos, and I actually have the sensors, but probably not enough time to show it here. But that's going to be the key. How would you spend time? I don't know. Play with it a lot. So, like give you an example. So today you just turn your light on and off. There's a Philips manufacturer, something called Philips Hue. Philips from Holland, right? Netherlands. So that light changes colors, changes color intensities. You can adapt it to music. So if you have that and that costs about Nima Yang, so what are you going to do? You're going to play with it probably, just like you play with Candy Crush, right? $4 billion company.
So what kind of generation or people are you targeting? For example, old people or young people or middle-aged at home?
This is going to home. So instead of a person, it's targeting a home. So probably a standard upper middle class home.
Yes.
So somebody who's living at least in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay. So how about age? For example, the people when they get old, it's very difficult to control the remote controller or devices, and I'm totally confused of what kind of the controller I should use at home.
So that's a perfect example. So I don't have it here. So let's say you have 20 remotes, right?
Yeah.
So once you pair all the remotes to that, infrared remotes, whether it's your light or TV or anything, you just speak to your phone, because that's on hardware. That's talking to your phone.
Yes.
You just open your phone and you say, TV, turn on channel 4, or stop, go to Netflix, It's going to go to Netflix, and you just speak, like you normally do things, as opposed to you don't use your hand anymore. You just speak, and it does what it's supposed to do,
okay.
and it adapts to your, you know.
Okay, it sounds like a person in the Star Trek.
It is here.
Okay. Here. The only problem is I'm not carrying the smartphone, so that is a serious problem.
So that is, so I said at some point, access anywhere is kind of an assumption today by everybody.
Yeah.
Same assumption goes about smartphone. I think people are assuming smartphone is there everywhere.
Okay.
And if they don't have it today, they will probably want to have tomorrow.
Okay. For the elder people around the age of 70 or 80 years old, when they go to the care home or a nursing home, so still that kind of the device works well for the...
So in that case, it's going to be something supplied to them by the nursing home. So it's going to be almost like an B2B kind of usage. So in other words, there will be something installed there.
Yes.
They may not just go out with it. It's going to be a combination of that thing and the screen.
Yes.
And the speaker, so they just go and talk to that. So it's not going to be for a normal user who carries a cell phone and goes around and, like, if somebody who is between 25 and 60. Okay. For somebody who is above 70, I think it needs to be tailored.
Okay.
I don't think this is ready for somebody who just doesn't like phone, and it's because it's still early stages of development.
Okay.
Market.
Any other questions and comments? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So Mr. Ash came quite often and made several presentations, and every time he talked a different thing, so he changed quite a lot and frequently. So and his new invention or efforts is this device and home electronics or home.
So we're actually focusing on Internet of Things automation,
Okay.
because it's a devices. This is the bridge. This is called a bridge, which sits in between.
Okay.
But devices are being created from Panasonics to Sony's to everybody. 90% of those devices will die.
Okay.
Because only 10% that are really good and really run a good price point will be successful. So we're focusing more on the ecosystem.
Okay.
This is just one part of it.
So people can take a look at that?
Yeah, sure, they can take a look at it here.
Okay, so much for the forum today, and 5 hours of and 3 speakers, and that is innovation in global perspective. So we will continue this kind of the discussion next month and next year. Okay, thank you. And also, please turn in your documents as I mentioned. So much for the forum. I appreciate your participation.